Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video. Today I'm going over the stats for the month of March for Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's stats video and, anything you'd like to see. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, as well as a affiliate link at Element Games if you want to give me some more support, as well as a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But yeah, today I am going over the March stats for Kill Team. So we're going over all the global stats. Once again, this is all collated by Hot Sauce Teddy, so all thanks goes to him. And remember, this is all from the BCP app, so it comes with the pitfalls of that. And if you aren't using the BCP app, remember, you can always email us or contact us or whatever, and we can add your results that way. The only other thing is the app kind of messed up a bit. So I like the results. BCP did something. So when you get to one data, it's going to look odd, but it didn't affect the win rates. It just affected some of it, but let's get into it. So as you can see for March, Elucidine, Star Striders and Galapox Infected sit on a 62% win rate, which is fine. Void Dancer Troops are also on 61%, which is very interesting. Notably, Elucidine Star Striders have a 5.9% meta representation, which is huge. And funny considering they're still out of stock everywhere on the store for Games Workshop. Galapox have a 3% and Void Dancers have 3.3%. So all really quite popular. Imperial Navy Breaches are effectively on 57% with a 4.99% win rate, representation. So all quite popular. Then we have Hand of the Archon sitting in at 54%. So, everyone thought they were going to quite dominate the game, whereas I had a feeling they'd more be around 50, which they have done so far. Then we've got Blooded, Wormblade and Intercession all sitting around 52%, with Legionary and Corsairs at 50. Veteran Guardsmen are up to 50% as well, along with the Exaction Squads, although they have a 1.3% meta representation. And then Crew have jumped up with a 5% representation rate to 50%, which is really good as well, considering they were not doing so well. Hunterclade have gone up to 48%, and then Novitiate's doing well as Phobos. Commandos basically up at 45%, but below 45% we have Hierotek Circle, who are up to 42%, which is way better when they were last month at 30 or 25. And then Warp Coven, they've dropped down a bit to 40%. Kazakin have dropped down to 36%, and shockingly, Pathfinders are down to 35%. For the second month in a row. They are not doing well at all. I have no idea what's happened to Pathfinders now. And then obviously if you look at Compendium, you've got Comorite and Demons doing really well. But if you look at their representation rate, it's basically nothing. Now looking at GT Plus results, Galapox are a 72% win rate, which is totally fine. And then Elucidine Star Striders are at 65%. Once again, all fine. Exaction Squad are up to 61%, but with only 0.6% of the meta, which isn't very good. I mean, looping back to Elucidine Star Striders, 7% of the meta at GT Plus and getting 65% is not good at all for the game, but we'll keep going. Breaches, which are at 61% with 7% usage in GT Plus results. And then you have Void Dancer Troop, also at 57%, but with a slightly lower usage. Then oddly, we have Vet Guard at nearly 6% usage at 53%. Hand of the Archon go down a bit to 52%. And then notably going below 45%, we have Hierotek, Pathfinders doing slightly better, Kroot dropping down at GT+, and then Orc Commandos down to 40, Warp Coven down to 34, and then Kazakin down to 28, which is quite a change from what we had with the normal results. I mean, really interestingly, Phobos are at 50% for both. Now, this is before the balanced data slate. So if they do get buffed, oh my gosh, we are literally going to have another Hunterclade and Elucidine Star Striders if it all pans out, which will be hilarious. But I mean, it's really interesting to see Phobos shoot up. I have no idea why. They have literally been doing horrible for months. And all of a sudden, they've got a 3.7% meta usage, which is actually pretty decent. Although they're more popular in GT Plus tournaments than they are normal results. So we've got a very weird meta in terms of what has changed positions. like oddly, Pathfinders are just not doing well overall. The top 3/4 has basically stayed unchanged. It's effectively Gallopok, Starstriders, Navy Breachers, and Void Dancer Troop. It's I've harped on about this for ages. It's like 4 months in a row. Oddly, Blooded this month haven't done that well at all in terms of they've just hit 50%. Like, if you look at GT Plus results, they're at 48%, and then if you look at normal results, they're at 53%. So it's kind of evened out for Blooded. Everything else, it's just weird. It's weird how the bottom keeps changing more than the top, where it kind of shows we've got an established problem at the top, whereas the bottom keeps fluctuating heavily. But, that's it for win rates. Now for the basic cast table, here is where BCP kind of messed up. So a lot of our event placements haven't been able to be recorded. So Hot Sauce Teddy's trying to fix it. So he may have that fixed today, tomorrow, or like in a few weeks, because it's just, as I said, the app has been really weird. Even all the people who played at Adepticon have accidentally been deleted from ITC because of something going on with the app. So anyway, once again, we had a total of 3,284 games, which is up compared to last month. As you can see, there were 174 games of Elucidity and Starstriders, which is their most popular month, and their win rate went up. So that's not a good sign, because generally when a faction gets more popular, usually their win rate goes down. Galapox are actually leveling out around 100 games, but they're doing really well. I mean, you can see they won one event, whereas the Elucidity and Starstriders won 2. And then Void Dancer Troop also won 2 events. And then Imperial Navy Breachers, they are still holding around 200. So they've gone down a bit, 170 games, but still doing really well with their representation. Hand of the Archon have exploded onto the scene with 183 games, but they're just going around 50%. They've won 1 event, they've podiumed once as well. But overall, they've actually been pretty even. So we don't know if this is a mix because they don't do as well as Into the Dark, or people just kind of overestimated them, or there's too many people playing them. But either way, it's a good sign for a faction everyone kind of feared would dominate the game. Although I didn't really think it would. It's definitely an A-tier team at least. And then, looking, most bespoke teams have at least 100 games. The only ones that notably don't are Exaction Squad, Hyrotech Circle, Warp Coven, Kazakin, and even Pathfinders, but they're kind of closer to 100, so it isn't so bad. But, oh my gosh. But if you look at Phobos, they're nearly 100. So, as an eyeball, we kind of want close to 100, but it doesn't look great. And then if you look at the compendium side, their most popular faction is basically the Death Guard at 56 or Talons of the Emperor at 51 games. But that's like peak compendium, and usually Death Guard always gets that kind of representation. But this is more just to break down the meta. And if you look at a base, effectively only 10% of the meta is now compendium, at least for March, right? Once again, we've got the monthly win rate trends. So even though this is getting a mess of colors, what you can actually see is we've got teams now maintaining this above 56%, 55% win rate, as you can see in the top. And then down at the bottom, you can see it's more erratic. So teams underperforming, they are still underperforming, but they're going up and down on how it underperforms, if that makes sense. So, but the good thing is a lot of teams in the middle are just staying in that range of 55 to 45%. And obviously Intercession are just getting so thick, they are eventually going to take over the entire graph with their thickness. But that is the Imperial future we all must face together. Either prepared or terrified. I am both. Once again, we have the monthly look at how the meta's doing, and March has been a record-breaking month for Kill Team. Not only did we have Adepticon, but we've had the most tournaments this month, well, tied for the most, with the most GT Plus events, or events with 4 more rounds and 16 or more players, and we've had the most players this month ever in the game's history. So Kill Team, the thing is, I was expecting a gradual rise. We've had a huge jump, huge jump. So it's really impressive to see that the game is still growing as it is. And this is just awesome. We haven't even hit the full of summer. So I am really excited to see where the game goes next. Because April, we've got a lot of tournaments as well. Warhammer Fest, so much stuff. But Really good to see, really happy to see. And obviously we're getting more countries every month. I can't properly focus into them, but shout out to the Philippines with 7 events now. And finally, we have the win rate graph. So remember, 45 to 55% is good. 56 to 60% is bad. Above 60 is really bad, needs a nerf. And then 44 to 40 is kind of like, needs to keep an eye. And then below 40 definitely needs some kind of buff. So instead of putting in the compendium teams, to make this actually more readable, I've just put bespoke only. So you get a fairer idea. It does change the percentages a little bit, but you can see Intercession Squad, while they're the most popular, their win rate on average has gone down a bit. Legionary have just kind of stayed where they are. You have Star Striders and Gelapox laughing, lording themselves above everyone, just going, look at us, look at our limited boxes. And then you have Imperial Navy Breachers just going, don't worry, our Discord assumes we are fine, and we are definitely fine. And Void Dancer troops are just like, they'll never nerf us. But going down below, Commandos, as I said, we rate draws as 1, like as 0.5 instead of 1. So like generally other stats will probably put them higher. So that's why I think 44 basically means Commandos are fine. But worryingly, we have Warp Coven, Kazakin, Hierotech Circle, and Pathfinders all below 40%. And that's kind of sad to see, especially for the Pathfinders. It's really weird. I don't understand the Pathfinder change. Are we going to have to buff Pathfinders? I think we have to, guys, but I don't want to. And then you just got Kazakin going, yeah, I don't know what happened last month. We were like nearly 45%. That was just a mistake, guys. We were bluffing and we gave all our power to Phobos. So overall for March, really weird month. Really weird. Once again, the top tier has kind of just solidified as generally just not being okay. Like, it's just like, I know people try and defend it by saying the stats aren't accurate, that kind of stuff, all that kind of stuff. But we have now had like 3 or 4 months of these 4 factions overperforming. I mean, I'm more puzzled, but not puzzled at Void Dancer Troop. That's kind of expected at this point. But it's just, wow. And then you've got more teams underperforming. So actually, if you look at it, we've only got 8 teams being a split mix, 4 overperforming, like above 55%, and then 4 under 40. Everyone else is basically within 45 to 55%, which is actually pretty good. Overall, once again, looking at the stats as a whole, the game is pretty well balanced. It's only when you start looking what's happening at the top and bottom of the meta does everything go really weird. And not just looking at the win rate, like the factions that are performing well have good representation and they are winning or podiuming really well at events. So they're either coming first, second, and they're either winning events or coming first, second, and third really commonly. So it's not just like, win rate bad. It's the fact they're winning, they're really popular, and they have a lot of podiums. So it is concerning, but less concerning because it's kind of a stable concern. Like, you're on a plane and one of the engines is on fire, but it's not a huge fire, and the plane seems okay because all the other engines are fine, and you're just like, this will be a problem eventually, but everyone's okay. And then, in the cargo hold, you just have Warp Coven, Kazakin, Hierotech Circle, and Pathfinders trapped, like begging for life. Somehow Phobos has risen up this month, which is the real winner of Phobos, honestly, hitting at 50% for basically both kind of results. They even came, I think, 4th or 3rd at Adepticon, or 2nd? It's something like that. It's very confusing. I don't know what's happened with Phobos. Maybe I was right about the Phobos players all just playing dumb, trying to get as many buffs as possible before they all decided to start playing properly and just dominating the game. And I can't believe that may actually be legit, but we'll see, especially when the next balanced data set comes. So, because this is effectively like the last month before we get another balanced data slate, hopefully. And as I said, everything's kind of stayed the same. So we actually really do need a balanced data slate to shake things up. But we've got a lot of tournaments coming up, and in May we should have the final 2, like Into the Dark kill teams, which look interesting as well. Very interested to see how the Beastmen do. Very, very interesting and concerned. But overall, once again, it's a really healthy meta, right? There's only 4 teams that are like really a warning sign that you probably should be playing or always practicing how to beat, and then 4 teams who are just, you just play them with your friends, right? But like generally, it really is good to see how healthy the meta is overall. But that's pretty much it for me today. Remember, there'll be an article version eventually, either at the time of this video goes up or eventually in the episode description, where you can have all the images. Just remember, if you are going to talk about the stats, please just remember to credit me and Hot Sauce Teddy, especially Hot Sauce Teddy. He put so much work into this, and without him, this wouldn't be possible. And it's really a shame to see people just talking about his stats in videos and articles and stuff without even just bothering to credit him. You know, because I help him with ideas and stuff, but really he's the one who gathers everything. So I can't thank Hot Sauce Teddy enough. But yeah, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of this month's stat show. What do you think of the results? Are you happy? Are you concerned? Do you think we're probably going to get a Pathfinder buff as well? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, as well as an affiliate link to Element Games, as well as a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my Adepts of the Crit, I have Screech, Sam, Robin, Nick, Kenzie, John Thomas, Eric, Captain Murder, Daniel, Dad of Goldens, Average Joe 27, Arthur, and then for my Veterans of the Crit, I have Samja. So thank you so much. Your support really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But yeah, this is a pretty packed week for me in terms of work, so I haven't got many videos coming out, and I am expecting a balanced data slate. So hopefully this is a more short, concise look at the stats, as it normally is. But I hope it was, you know, useful. It's useful to me. Helps as a practice tool and that kind of stuff. But remember, until next time, no matter what the stats say, you always have a chance to win, as long as you can roll a crit.